What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the JuiceBox presented by LOCKCITY. It's Whitey here again today. Happy Wednesday still. Hope everyone's having a good week. Right now we have episode 223. It's our third podcast of the day of the JuiceBox. It's going to be an outlook into FISSURE Playground number 2, the quarterfinals. Now that the matches have concluded for today, we have our quarterfinal bracket for Friday. We are taking a break from games tomorrow. There's no games tomorrow for FISSURE Playground. We do have our video out, obviously, for Star Ladder Star Series, so I couldn't remember the name of the tournament there for a second, but if you haven't checked that out, I do recommend doing that as well. Check it out on our YouTube channel, Spotify, depending on where you're listening, or check it out on our X if you're listening over on X. But without further ado, let's hop into the playoff bracket for this one. So for FISSURE Playground, the 8 teams that ended up making it to the playoffs are obviously G2, MongolZ, Aurora, Liquid, FURIA, Astralis, Falcons, and Pain. So we have some pretty good matchups here. It sucks that G2 and MongolZ have to play each other in the quarterfinals. That would have been a good semifinal or even grand final potentially matchup, although I think Falcons is a strong contender for that as well. But let's talk about what we are looking at for Friday's matches. So let's hop over to Thunderpick. Obviously, for those of you that follow along with the videos, you know that Thunderpick is one of the world leaders for esports betting. On Thunderpick, they not only have lines for esports, they also have lines for regular sports, casinos, so on and so forth. If you click the link on the screen that you see now, tinyurl.com/lcthunder, or navigate to that link rather, it's also in the description below, you will get a 100% deposit match on your first deposit all the way up to $600. So any amount that you deposit up to $600 will get immediately matched by Thunderpick for you to be able to use for your esports picks. Again, that's going to be tinyurl.com/lcthunder. If you don't have a book already, I highly recommend Thunderpick. So here are the 2 plays that I have scoped out for Friday here. I did it a little bit differently. I took the first match and the last match and then the 2 middle matches for this one here, so a little bit different approach. Usually I pair together the first 2 and the last 2, but for whatever reason, I was feeling mixing it up this way. And then obviously the other 2 plays that we have on the board here are for Star Ladder Star Series, and you can find those in the other video. So the first play that we're going to talk about here is going to be Liquid plus 1.5 map spread against Aurora, and then Falcons minus 1.5 map spread against Pain Gaming. So we'll hop over to the matchups here. This will probably be a little bit easier to navigate. Pain Gaming and Liquid Aurora. These are actually in a different order here than they appear on Thunderpick, so I don't know what order they'll end up being in. Thunderpick said that was the 4 a.m. match, Aurora and Liquid, but HLTV says it's at 7:30. But either way, that's the way I paired it together. That's the way we're going to talk about it here. So Aurora and Liquid, I'm taking Liquid plus 1.5 map spread here. Liquid's been impressive. Obviously, their win over FaZe today, their win over Tyloo, their win over Heroic. They've been able to streak together 3 here after the news that Twist is going to be departing the team for FaZe. Little bit of dead team motivation here. They've been performing well above their means. On the Aurora side of things, obviously a strong team, one of the best teams in the world here. I don't know why we're getting all these ads here all of a sudden. I'm going to have to make sure my ad blocker's on for the next video. But either way, Aurora, one of the top teams in the world. I do think that Liquid will be able to at least win a map here. If we're looking at which map, I expect Aurora to ban Ancient. Liquid, potentially Nuke. I could see them winning Nuke. I could see them winning Dust 2. I could see them winning Train. I expect them to probably win Train because they've been playing a lot of it. Aurora doesn't play it a whole lot. I think that's probably their easiest method to victory. But give me Pain 1.5 map spread. I think there's a variety of maps that they could be able to win on. A lot of these players are playing well above their means. The level of expectation for this team is low. They're just here to ruin people's days, and I think they're going to look to do that again tomorrow. So that's going to be the first leg, Liquid plus 1.5 map spread. Second one, we're going to go Falcons minus 1.5 map spread, so they're going to need to win 2-0 on this one. If we're looking at the map pool, obviously Inferno is the only sketchy spot where Pain could potentially win. But Falcons has been playing good teams on Inferno. Their 25% win rate does not do them justice in terms of their level of competition there. They're beating teams like FaZe, Legacy, Virtus Pro. They beat Vitality, they beat MongolZ, G2, some of the top teams in the world here. They did have that Aurora loss, which wasn't great. And then on the Pain side of things, they squeaked past Virtus Pro a couple of moments ago. They lost to FURIA. They were able to beat Astralis and Heroic, but this loss to FaZe is not great. Loss to Mongol is obviously justifiable. This loss to Astralis there isn't great, but is at their level of competition. The last time that we saw these teams play, we did see Pain win Nuke, but that's going all the way back back to April, so not really relevant. I don't think that Pain would win Nuke today. Again, I think Inferno is the only map that they would stand a chance on, but I would actually expect Falcons to win Inferno here. So for that reason, I'm going Falcons minus 1.5 map spread as the second leg on that parlay. That's going to be 2 units, 2.4 times your money. It's going to pay 4.8 total units. The next one that we're going to talk about is going to be G2 plus 1.5 map spread and Astralis plus 1.5 map spread. This one's going to be kind of sketchy, but let's get into it. Let's talk about it. G2 and MongolZ, I do think G2 could probably win this outright. Public consensus does look like it somewhat agrees there. Obviously, a lot of MongolZ fans. MongolZ has a large worldwide audience here. On the Mongol side of things, I think they would obviously win Mirage. We're not going to see Nuke here because G2 is going to ban it. We're not going to see Train here because MongolZ is going to ban it. I think MongolZ would win Overpass. G2 has looked horrible on Overpass. I think they would win Mirage. We're not going to see Nuke. I think they could win Ancient, but Ancient would be very close. I expect G2 obviously here to pick Inferno because MongolZ does not have a good Inferno. So G2 plus 1.5 map spread is coming into play here. I expect them to pick Inferno. I expect them to win Inferno. Even if they do pick Ancient, I think they have a pretty good shot at winning that as well. But G2 plus 1.5 map spread first leg there. And then Astralis plus 1.5 map spread is going to be the other leg on this parlay. Public consensus, again, kind of heavier than I would have expected on the Astralis side of things. But I think Astralis' form has looked good. They beat Legacy 2-0. They beat Gamer Legion 2-0. They beat Virtus Pro 2-0. This loss to Pain isn't great because then Pain obviously lost to FURIA 2-0. FURIA has losses to Aurora, losses to G2. They dropped a map to Liquid. They dropped a map to Legacy. So they're losing maps to teams that Astralis can beat. I do expect Astralis to win a map. I don't think we're going to see a repeat of Cologne where we saw like a 13-4, 13-3, or even in Stage 1 where we saw like a 13-11, 13-9. I think this will be closer. I do think Astralis could win Overpass. I think Astralis could win Ancient. I don't know exactly what we're going to see for a ban on the Furia side of things. I think Astralis could win Nuke. I think Astralis could win Inferno. So there's a number of maps here I feel good about. Give me Astralis plus 1.5 map spread as the second leg there. That one's going to be 2 units, just under 2 times, so it's going to be 1.91 times your money. It's going to pay 3.82 total units. So those are going to be the 2 plays that I'm rocking with for Friday here for the quarterfinals. Let me know in the comments if you like these plays here. If you've been following along to any of the videos here, make sure to give us a like, subscribe depending on the platform that you are listening on, and we will see y'all back here once the quarterfinals have concluded for some semifinal action on FISSURE Playground 2. And then obviously on the Star Ladder Star Series side of things, once matches conclude tomorrow, we can look to have a video as well as cheat sheets obviously in both the Discord and on Twitter for continued Star Ladder Star Series coverage. All right, y'all, that is it from me for at least today. We will see y'all back here tomorrow with some more CS2 content. Thank y'all for listening. Take care. Peace.